Hey guys, Alfred here. We have another build we're calling the Heavyweight Gladiator. There were three things that I wanted to accomplish in making this build. First is the use of the Fetid Club. The Fetid Club is a legendary weapon that has this unique enchantment. Damage increased by 10% of current weight. With the addition of weight-altering facets in the game, specifically these facets, we can maximize the effect of this enchantment. Normally, added weight is seen as a drawback or a negative effect, since you would need to put in more points in equip load to get you on your desired weight class. But with this weapon, it becomes a positive addition since the added weight will increase our damage output. Second is the new barrier mechanic that was recently added with the Together update. Barrier is a frontline defense that absorbs damage, preventing actual health loss from your character. You can think of it like an extension of your hit points. The barrier has to be depleted first before you actually take real damage. Currently, there is no visual representation of barrier on your character itself. It's shown as a blue bar here, right below your health bar. There are several ways how you can gain barrier. One way is adding these gems to your armor. The chipped or the mottled shield emblem. The chipped one adds 10% barrier out of combat. The mottled one adds 15% out of combat. The next ways to gain barrier are through these particular enchantments in blue or magical gear. Gain barrier on kill, found on blue weapons. Gain barrier on consuming food, found on blue helmets. Gain barrier on parry, found on blue gloves. And gain barrier on dodge, found on blue pants. So yeah, currently, gaining barrier through enchantments is only available in blue or magical gear. Although, there's a barrier enhancing enchant found on plague body armors, which is this, barrier gain increased. This will not let you gain barrier, it will increase the amount of barrier you get from those shield emblems and magical enchants mentioned moments earlier. On an additional note, barrier does not prevent poise damage, or the buildup of status effects like burning, freeze, infection, and shock. So you can still get staggered, you can still burn, be frozen, and all that while having a barrier on. It just prevents the damage from reaching your health. The third thing that I wanted to integrate in this build is the reworked plague element. Before the Together update, when you get infected, healing is reduced and you get damage over time while you are infected. It works similarly to when you walk on the toxic canal in the Black Trench, like this. Now with the reworked plague element, upon being successfully infected, healing is still reduced but they removed the continuous damage over time and replaced it with lifesteal. So when you successfully infect an opponent, you gain lifesteal, like so. Alright, let's get into the build itself. The Heavyweight Gladiator. Checking out the weapon, it's the Fetid Club, a legendary two-handed club that scales with faith. When I started making this build, I had a Fetid Club with a festering facet, and I accidentally sold it. Yeah, that was painful. If you want to try out this build, I would recommend that's the facet you aim for, festering. It will naturally imbue your weapon with plague damage. Fortunately, I still had this other Fetid Club on storage. It has the quick facet. But since we're going with the plague build, we need to manually dose our weapon with plague using this, the plague scale oil. Once you use this, for the next 60 seconds, your damage type switches to the plague element, and it also has the additional benefit of increasing your plague damage by 20%. So yeah, if you have the festering facet on this club, that's really the best one for this build, but as an alternative, you can have other facets and you can just dose it with the plague scale oil. You can also use the plague enchantment rune, which switches your damage to plague for a time. However, I kinda don't recommend it since we're using this gem, the mottled jewel. This gives us enchantment power increased by 75% at full focus. So yeah, we need to always be at full focus with this build to activate the effect of this gem. Using the plague enchantment rune will cost us some focus, which is not ideal, especially during the middle of battle. These are the enchantments on this weapon. This is the one that we're building around on. Damage increased by 10% of current weight. We'll get to how to max this out when we get to the armor set. Damage resistance increase while charging is pretty awesome, as we'll be using the charge attack of this weapon a lot. Refill stamina and staggering an enemy is really great, as we will be eating up the poise of enemies, especially with the plague enchantment found on body armors that reduces stagger resistance of infected enemies. Alright, let's get into the armor set. We are using the heaviest armor class, plate armor. Right now, I'm using the Bastion armor set, but you can use any plate armor piece that you want. For the facets, you should aim for any of these facets: dense, insulated, fireproof, purified, and frost woven. What we're after is the added weight that these facets provide on each of the armor piece, so any combination of these facets will work. Purified and dense are the most useful though, as all bosses have some sort of plague attack and they all use physical damage. In terms of the gem infusion, just like on the weapon, we're using the mottled jewel on all armor pieces, which increases the enchantment power by 75% at full focus. Focusing on the helmet for now, we're using a blue or magical plate helmet. Remember the different ways to gain barrier that I mentioned earlier? For this build, this is the only one we're using. The easiest one: gain barrier on consuming food. Then we enhance that barrier gain by getting this enchantment on the body armor. Barrier gain increased by 40%. So just by eating food, we easily gain barrier. Next thing I focused on is getting our plague damage up. We have plague damage increased here on the helmet, body armor, and pants. To infect enemies faster, I put an infection buildup increased here on the glove. Then to stagger enemies faster, infected enemy stagger resistance decreased here on the body armor. To increase our damage output further, I put in critical chance increased here on the helmet, pants, and gloves. Then critical damage increased here on the body armor. Also, I added in gain armor penetration here on the pants. Since we'll be using charge attacks a lot, charge attack damage increased here on the gloves, and movement speed increased after charge attack here on the pants. This one here is a mistake: gain stamina on stagger. We already have refill stamina on stagger on our weapon, so this enchant is basically redundant and provides no value. What I recommend to replace this would be gain health on staggering an enemy, or healing increased by current durability to help increase lifesteal when we get enemies infected. As for the plague downsides, focus cost increased here on the body armor as we won't be using focus. Heavy roll here in the pants, as this is actually null and void. We are already on the heavyweight class anyway. Then parry disabled here on the gloves. For the rings, we have the willow cap ring, which enhances our overall speed, the stone tusk ring, which increases our armor, and the fierce ring, which will increase our damage for 10 seconds after taking some damage ourselves. As for the stats, 25 on equip load just to make sure we're not encumbered, 45 on health for 400 hit points, 15 on stamina for 70 stamina points, and 42 on faith to scale our weapon damage. Normally, with plate armor without any additional weight, our current weight with the Fetid Club should be 300, but with the facets that increased our weight, we have it now at 320, so about a 20 points increase overall, which is about 5 points added per facet on the armor set. It's not really that much, I admit, but since this is a heavyweight gladiator build, we have to keep to the theme, so as heavy as we can get it to. So with the weapon enchantment of damage increased by 10% of current weight, this gives us about 32 points of additional base damage. Alright, that's it for the build. To show you what this build can do, next up is the no echo battle against the Echo Knight. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take care out there, and I'll see you on the next one.